Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 253. Get down with your bad self. Recorded on Friday, June 2nd, 2023 from Zenatta Consulting. I am Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
Wanted to be definitive about that rather than I'm Brett Martin. I went with the full I am Brett Martin this morning, because
We're
it's
stretching the
June.
syllables. It is a short news week, so like I used to do back in my college days, I want to put as many words in, really stretch this thing out as long as we can. So good job, Brett.
I was just thinking after our little pre-show half hour here, which is mostly just me, you, and Freddie shooting the garbage. I thought, we should probably record that and put that out as its own separate show. There's a
We
lot of good
probably should
content.
not. No, we probably should not.
We probably not.
Really
I don't know.
unwise.
We'll definitely go on a different channel all the way around, I think. Anyways, this is a slow news week. Is there any more vamping? Any good plans this weekend, Tyler? Anything coming up?
No plans at all. Really, get on the bike, get outside a little bit, but that's about it. That is
Very
it. I know
nice.
Josh, our VP of operations, is in a plane, or I think probably in a plane. He took off about midnight last night.
I think they left at 2 in the morning, and it's an 18-hour flight. So I think they got another 10 hours to go
Oh wow.
on the way to Bali.
Good Lord Almighty. But yeah, so Josh headed across the world, and it's just you and I and we're empty nesters. He got married, he's going on these trips now. It's like watching our young
What do
fledgling
we
leave the
do?
nest.
What do we do? Well, you still got Xena,
That's true.
I
That's true.
know. I imagine
Something to
Lauren's
take
around there
care of.
somewhere still. You never know. I am actually this weekend starting my French wine masters course. So
Oh.
taking it with Peter Neptune, who is a master sommelier and a master of wine. Going to be doing that for 4 weeks. Can you believe this? 9 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon for 4 consecutive Saturdays.
Wow.
It is, yeah.
That's going to
It's gonna
be
be a lot.
4 hungover Sundays if that was
No,
me.
it's a lot of spitting. It's a lot of spitting when you do that. But anyway, that'll be fun. All right, kids, with that, let's get right on into announcements and events. All right, Tyler. As I just mentioned, I don't know if I think we're talking about this pre-show, but this morning, this is over with. You missed it, but Greg Belknap, our head of developers extraordinaire, did a nice little Zoho developer hangout that was hosted by Zoho. It was a good attendance, talking about related XML lists and all kinds of things. That was fun.
Nice.
I love that Freddie. I love that you kept that audio, Freddie. That's from one of our
One more,
first Azaz episodes, I think, isn't it?
I think so. One more time, Freddie.
Nice.
There it is.
Nice. Very good. Anyway, coming up for us this month, anyway, we have got our July, our June webinar is going to be Zoho Pro. Actually, take it back. Yeah, we've got the Zoho Flow full product overview coming up on June 20th. And then on July 18th, boost your productivity with Zoho bookings, calendar, and meetings. And then in August, we're going to do our Zoho Voice full product overview. And then on September 19th, Zoho Sales IQ full product overview. If you haven't, head over to club.zenatta.com. That's where all of this stuff lives. You can go ahead and RSVP for these events as they are coming up. For a lot of you, you've already subscribed. You get the announcements. I think a couple thousand of you get announcements coming forward. But we try to keep track of all of the events in the world of Zoho. So head over to club.zenatta.com. And you can find them all there, and also participate in our online community. This is where you can ask us questions for our weekly show, Azaz Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho. And we keep all of the Azaz episodes here. If you ever missed one, you can kind of go through it and see all the questions and watch it there as well. And participate in our general discussion, where we talk about anything and everything. You can kind of jump right into that. And with that, let us get right on into the news. So, Tyler, this is absolutely super cool. This is a brand new component. It's only part of Wizards, but it basically allows you to do a highly filtered search where You can put in a bit of data and it only gives you the potential search results you would want. The example they're showing here is you're trying to find a service provider, like a telephone service provider. You put in a zip code and it only gives you the providers in those areas. This is in Wizards right now, but man, this is cool stuff.
Yeah, super, super slick. I mean, there's just tons of use cases where you want to kind of in the process of creating that record, select from a subset. You know, maybe you're picking a lookup field to a lawyer. You want to say what type of case this is, and then only see lawyers with that specialty. Here, right, they're showing you with zip codes and service providers on those zip codes. So really slick. I mean, it's kind of a way to like dynamically apply a filter to a lookup, right? Go through, pick what you want, and then it will fill in that other field. Like you mentioned, Brett, I would love to see this on anything, right? Outside of just
Yeah.
Wizards, hopefully that's just where they're starting. But, even just you're creating a related record, right? Being able to just quickly and dynamically make those choices is really, really nice. They're kind of doing a lot with this, building a little bit more smoothness into filtering and the UI and kind of making some of these selections. So kudos to you, Zoho. This is a nice one to get out the door.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I like this a lot. Some small limitations on this. You basically have the limit of a maximum of 3 query components can be for each module. You can dupe those up. It looks like you can have up to 5 query components in a single wizard, but only 1 query component per screen of that wizard. Anyway, but just to have this, I'd love to see it native CRM. Very, very cool stuff here. So kudos to the CRM team. And moving on. Basically, you now have some enhancements to user management listings when managing subordinates. So I was reading through this, Tyler. Tell me if I got this right, but it looks like, normally if I'm a user and let's say I want to go assign a record ownership to someone on my team, or I want to share a record in CRM with someone in the organization, normally I will click on that and I will see everybody in the organization. But with this now, you can kind of limit it down so that a user can only share it with people who are his subordinates or her subordinates in this case. Is that how you're seeing this?
Yeah, and this is great. I mean, there's so many cases where this is super relevant, right? I mean, we have one client that breaks up the US into 6 different territories. Each has a director, and then underneath them, they've got, 10 other sub territories. So the director of the West Territory, if they're going to assign a lead, they're never going to assign it to somebody on the East Coast. Just never going to happen. But as you
Right.
know, right, you could have John Smith and John Smythe right next to each other in that list. And it's just easy to pick the wrong one on accident. And now this lead doesn't get assigned properly. So it's just a really, really nice way to kind of lock some of that stuff down, right? Or like if I'm assigning, honestly, this would be kind of nice in our use case. Like if I'm assigning a deal out to somebody, well, Freddie is a user in our CRM, but never takes a deal, but there he's going to be in that owner list every single time, right? So you might have marketing people in your CRM, operational
Yep.
people there. So yeah, really, really nice. This is one that I know a lot of people ask for, right? Is kind of getting some better control over like what's available in those user fields. So yeah, lots of use cases for this. Like there's probably a couple customers that I should probably reach out to and let know that this is a thing now because people
Well,
like this.
I mean, now that Zoho's scaling up, they're getting more and more enterprise level type clients, and you start getting into hundreds and hundreds of users, you have to have this. I mean, it's
It's
just,
like need to have. That's a good point. For larger accounts, it's a need to have.
yeah, your little 5 user organization, not a big deal. But
Yeah.
you get a little bigger, it's a thing. All right, and moving right along here, you can now get more accurate data with pre-filled URLs in Zoho Forms, which had both of us scratching our heads this morning because it's been around forever. But I guess this is a new enhancement. Were we able to determine what the exact? Well, maybe we should explain what this is first, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean the kind of what this is, right, is you got a form, first name, last name, email, description, right? And you want to have that on your website, or you want to email that out to people. So pre-filling the URL is essentially being able to put things in the URL of that form that are going to pre-fill fields. So if I already know your name and I'm sending you this form from the CRM, I can pre-fill your name so you don't have to type it in again, right? Pretty straightforward. This had us scratching our heads because you could always do this with Zoho Forms. I think the only thing I'm seeing here that they added is now when you have defined all of the fields that you want to map to and the names that of those that you want to put in the URL, there's a little button now that you can press that will give you the URL with those parameters. So it seems like they're just saving you one step because normally you had to kind of manually create it, right? Now
Okay.
they're just saying, hey, fill in your things, click the make URL button, right? And then it will, this is a screenshot here in that top right.
Right here.
It's like, give
Got it.
me the URL that would allow me to use these parameters. So if you were already familiar with how to format those, obviously, saves you 20 seconds. But for people who might not be familiar with URL parameters, I could see that being, pretty helpful to have.
Very, very nice. All righty. And moving right along. What's new in Bigin for May 2023? I'll tell you one thing. There are three main enhancements to Bigin, and I want to see the very first enhancement over on Zoho CRM immediately. Um, this is a cool little quick preview option. So if you're in a list view, if you're watching us on YouTube, they're showing deals, and you're in a list view of deals, and you basically can hover over it and get get a nice little quick preview. But what I like about this is not only can you get a quick preview, you actually can make changes to it. So you can do some editing inside that as well inside the quick preview. They're showing one here on pipelines, and you can go in and change it without having to, without having to click into the record, make the changes in the record, go back to your view. That's pretty slick.
That's very cool. Yeah, that's one of those ones. Sometimes I get jealous. It's like the search bar inside of Zoho Recruit. It's like, put that in CRM. Please put that in CRM. This is one that I think goes in that category because that's really, really slick. I mean, you've got your list of active deals. You just want to make a quick update to it. Lots of cases here, it might even be you want to check a box, which puts it into an email drip, right? You don't want
Yep.
to have to like go through each individual record and do that. So that's really slick. I like that a lot. One I would like to see them copy paste here to other
Yeah.
apps.
Absolutely. That and another thing that's been rearing its head in the Zoho communities lately is rich text formatting in CRM notes. Uh, it was pretty funny, Tyler. I did some research on this. So there's a whole thread going on, and people are like, it seems like every 6 months or so this comes up, and people are like, why can't I have it? I found a thread over on the Zoho community forums 10 years old. And it seems like pretty much every year they're saying, yeah, it's coming soon. So
Yeah.
hopefully, do you have rich text formatting on notes inside of Bigin? You probably do, huh?
If you do, I'll lose my mind.
Pretty sure you do. Anyway, a couple other things. You can now change pipeline stages in bulk.
Nice to
This is
have.
something you can do in the CRM. You can't change both. You can't really change,
Yeah.
the actual pipeline and the stage, but this kind of allows you to change all of those in bulk now, since they have these pipelines. You can even go sub pipelines, team pipelines. So pretty nice. You can convert a sub pipeline to a team pipeline. This is something they're really, really excelling at over in
Yeah.
Bigin. All these the different pipelines you can have. So very, very slick. Nice changes there. And moving right along with the news and keeping it in the world of Biggin. And the title of our show, which is what was the title? Or something bad. Get down with
Bigin
your bad.
Android Dynamic Display.
Yes, Biggin Android Dynamic Display. That's where Greg came up with
This is
that
an
one.
abstract
Uh,
one. Greg had to, this is a little high minded here, went right over my head.
well, I will say one of the other titles he came up was not fit for public consumption. So we'll just leave that one off. Anyway, hey, this really is a big word for letting you know that you can now customize your display options in the mobile app so that when you are in a list view, you can kind of clean up what your list view looks like and dynamically basically arrange the pages on your mobile app in iOS. Um, that, in a nutshell, is what this is. But it's nice, gives you a lot of flexibility over what you're seeing, right?
Yeah. It's really great,
So,
especially on the mobile, right? Where kind of using your screen real estate optimally is even more important. So yeah, nice to
yep,
see. I think this is already there for iOS, I would assume. This is just kind of rounding things out on the Android side.
yep. Yep. So There you go. And then moving along with some more updates. So Zoho Meeting, got a couple updates here. The big one is you've got a new dashboard, um, which is kind of nice. Kind of lets you know what's happening in your world of meetings and webinars inside of Zoho Meeting. So it's kind of clean. I really like the look of that. And then just a minor thing on live answer feature. So if you're in the middle of a webinar, you can mark something that, hey, I answered this while I was doing the presentation. And so you can just kind of click through questions that were asked and say, this one was answered already, and quickly mark that off. And then the big one down here, it says that they have worked on enhancing the video quality, and you will now experience HD video during your online meetings. So we're gonna have to check that out
Hopefully.
and
Hopefully
see.
that works. I'd love to see this product kind of get over the hump on some of those audio video quality issues that we've always bumped into. Save us a
Yeah.
little bit of money on the Zoom licensing. So
Yep. And then wrapping up more meeting material, Zoho Meeting mobile app for iOS. Really, really, really small changes here. You now have the ability from iOS to go ahead and lock a meeting, um, see what, share some PDFs. But you basically, the big one is you can lock a meeting, and you also now can, you'll get notifications. So if the meeting's running and you're not on your home screen, you will get a notification that's saying a participant would like to enter the meeting. And so you can let them in. So because if you're running a meeting and you're not paying any attention to it, at least you'll get that notification on your home screen.
better than
And
nothing.
Yep. And when you do click that dialog, you're going to get basically a very simple screen allowing, telling you who's in, who wants to join, let them into the meeting or not. And then they've enhanced the overall feedback on this, Tyler. So you can now, if a person says it's excellent, then that's just great. If they say it's good, they're going to ask them, hey, what can we do better? And if they say it's poor, they're going to ask them what went wrong, give them some choices to choose from there, and allow them to leave additional comments as well.
Yeah, feedback drives growth, right? And I do like some of
Right.
these. I mean, a big thing that we always used to give them a hard time for at meetings that they didn't have a waiting room, right? So I know we're kind of joking a little bit about, oh, you get these notifications on your phone, but those are need to have features, right? You got
Yes.
to have waiting rooms. You got to be notified when people come into them, right? So all of these things, we poke fun here and there, but those are great to have, and I think they're in line with kind of bringing meetings up to snuff with other options.
Yep. Yep. Alrighty. And with that, Tyler, let us get into the implementation of the week.
Alrighty, so this is kind of a fun implementation here in the book/inventory side of the house. This one was built by Cody and Jason on our team. So this is an automated doc generation function that's pulling from sales orders that are inside of books and inventory. So people who have used the applications will be familiar that you can take your sales order and create a PDF from it without much issue at all. They have some baseline templates that you can use in books and inventory. But the challenge is that you can't customize that PDF a lot. You can customize some stuff on it, the logo, the colors, if certain values are going to show up or not. But that's about it. And what happens a lot of times is people are using books and inventory. And when you look at the sales order, for each item, you'll see, quantity shipped, quantity not shipped, quantity invoiced, paid, all these different sub statuses on the items. But that's only for you when you're looking at it inside of books. The minute you actually send that template to your client, all of those, like, we'll call them item sub statuses, kind of go away, right? And they're no longer on that template. So in this case, we're working with a client that has pretty large sales orders, right? They could have many items on them. Those items can be partially shipped, partially invoiced throughout the process of kind of fulfilling this sale. And so they wanted to have a way to say, hey, we love looking at this view where we see all these sub statuses. How do we show this to our customer? If they ask us where are things at, could you give me a summary on this order? We need a magic button that basically recreates this view that we have so we can share it externally. And so that's kind of exactly what the guys did. Spun up a template inside of Zoho Writer as a place to essentially store this data. It's a pretty simple template right now in terms of design and look and feel, but of course we'll kind of iterate on that and give it a little more branding and things like that as we go. But the real meat and potatoes of this is that, in this custom writer doc, we have that table of items. And because we're populating with a script, we can put whatever we want in there, right? So this script can take the sales order. It can get all the related invoices and what items are on those. It can get all the related packages and which items are on those, and essentially recreate those statuses of like quantity shipped, quantity unshipped, invoiced, not invoiced, organize that data, drop it onto that template, and then it's ready to go out to a customer as kind of a more detailed sales order summary document, so the customers can kind of see what's going on a per item basis on their sale. It's a really nice one, because that view, it's funny, I'm almost surprised we haven't done this before, because that view inside of inventory, when you look at a sales order as the user, gives you everything, right? Every little detail. Then you make the PDF and it's all gone. It's just items, quantities, prices. So yeah, good job, Cody and Jason. This is a nice build, one that I would imagine we will do again in the future someday.
Kudos, guys. Excellent. Excellent. All right, Tyler. And with that, let's head over to Club Zenatta and check out the implementation of the week. All right, Greg is at it again. This is prevent special character errors in XML lists with CDATA sections. So you were explaining this to me earlier, Tyler, but there are certain characters that you can't have. They're reserved for XML functionality: ampersand, greater than, less than, apostrophe, and many others, according to Greg here. And if you actually want to display them in text that you're the end product of your XML, you need to use his little special code to make that happen. Yes.
Yep, exactly. So this is like a case where, you've got a deal, and in that deal, it's got sales orders. Maybe the customer asks us, can we get an XML list so we can see all the items on all the sales orders for this deal? Well, what if one of the items was, rock and hard place with an ampersand, right? And you wanted to pull that into your list. Well, XML does stuff with ampersands. It has a particular thing it wants to do when it sees one of those. This is basically just a way to wrap a certain chunk of text in something that tells the XML, don't process this. Just treat it as text. Ignore like the operator characters that are in here, so that it will show up properly. Because if you don't do this, your XML list is just going to look crazy. It's going to do weird stuff with the data, and it's not going to look how you want. So this is almost something where I would think, and I'm sure you get Craig's take on this later, is you'd almost want to use these like most of the time, right? If you're displaying any text, because you just never know. I mean, even a company name could have an ampersand in it, right? That wouldn't be that weird. So nice kind of standardization. I would say if you are a developer, you're working with XML lists, back pocket this one, because you're probably going to need it eventually. And it's a pretty good way to kind of bug proof, the way these things are going to display.
Slick stuff. Thank you so much, Greg. And I mentioned it earlier, but please head on over to Club Zenatta. We have all of the code share, all of the Zoho news, whether we've covered it on this show or not. We keep track of everything over there. Nice little place. If you're into Zoho, you want to know the latest happenings, you can do so at clubzenatta.com. And all we require is your email to join. So come on in and join us over there. And with that, let's head over to zenatta.com and see what's new over there. So the team, we were talking about all of the new things that have happened in the world of ChatGPT integrations across Zoho, because if you have been listening to the show, you know Zoho has gone absolutely crazy integrating ChatGPT across so many of their products. And with that, we kind of went ahead and they put together a list of all of the ChatGPT integrations and where you can use them. So we covered CRM, Click, Desk, Analytics, Data Prep, Social, Sign, Sales IQ, Writer, Notebook, and Zoho Mail. I think that's the comprehensive list to date. So anyway, and we've kind of linked to all of the various articles where you can kind of find where these integrations were and how they work and what they do and what you can do. But I have to say, big kudos to to Zoho for jumping on the chat. They got on this more. A lot of other companies out there, big companies, have not done the integrations to the level that they have at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, it's, I think, a different approach, right? A lot of the large companies are wanting to do it themselves, right? Like Salesforce has their own internal NLP. It's called like Einstein something that they use for their like sales teams that they're trying to retrofit into like a customer facing product from what I was reading. Whereas on Zoho's side, they're like, hey, ChatGPT is fantastic and you can just integrate with that. Right. So they were able to get these to market really quick by plugging something in, which is interesting because it's not normally Zoho's approach, right? I was kind of surprised to see these. I'm happy they did it this way, right? Rather than trying to build their own NLP product on the fly, right? And take it to
Right.
market. But it is a little unlike them. I mean, they build their own data centers, right? Like they don't even use outsourced, infrastructure. Wayne says Zia in the chat. Zia is not even in the same realm as ChatGPT. They have Zia, but Zia is not not on the same boat here. But yeah, so kudos to Zoho for kind of switching up the approach on these. They wanted to get this to market, and I think they made a good decision by just using an external resource like this.
Absolutely. Okay, and with that, let's take a look at our tip of the week. All right, so this is a follow-up to last week's tip where you're in campaigns and you want to be notified if someone clicks on a URL. And this is automating those internal notification based on email actions inside of Zoho campaigns. You basically, I think, brought up a question about this or said, how does it work inside CRM? And Wayne basically heard that and said, you know what, let me just make another little 8-minute video and explaining how that works as well. So,
yep. Yeah, so I think the last one was kind of about like email notifications that you wanted to have going out. This one is around like tasking or kind of internal notifications to CRM. So now we got both of those covered. Nice little videos here. I mean, a lot of this stuff in campaigns, I appreciate Wayne doing these videos because it's easy to get going once you know where these things are. But I think for a lot of people, it's just tricky to even figure out, like, I know what I want to do, right? I want to send them 3 emails. And if they click all 3, I want to make a task. But like, it's really not obvious in campaigns how to do some of this. So yeah, shout out to Wayne for kind of filling in some of these gaps. I'm sure people are going to find this pretty darn useful.
I do want to point out here, if you'll notice on his intro, he's got one of our little Zenatta teddy bears in the background there, just kind of sitting there watching him record. So I'll tell you what,
Quality
I'm starting
control.
to see.
It's doing a little quality control.
And if you haven't, please head over to youtube.com/Zenatta and check out all of our latest videos. Everything we do, we put here, and we're doing so many. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 this week, and I guess this show will make 5, right? So just kind of check all these out. We're constantly finding new things. You guys are asking us, please make a video about this, please make a video about that, and we are on it as best we can. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, head over to youtube.com/Zenatta, subscribe to our channel, and we'll hopefully you find some useful content. Look, Tyler, looks like we are about to hit 11,000 subscribers here any minute. So another angel will be getting his
on up
wings.
there.
Yeah, we're cranking up.
Closer we go.
So thank you everyone for your support. Rock and roll. And with that, Tyler, I guess we're going to wrap up another show here. I was looking at the YouTube channel there, and that one CRM Zen show that was over an hour long with Greg.
The jokes just write themselves with that. The jokes just write themselves.
The two of us should not be allowed to do anything like that.
You need a moderator. If you two are making a piece of content, you need an adult. Yeah, you need an adult in the room, I swear.
For sure. All righty, everybody. Thank you so much for listening and joining us today. If you have any questions or you want to get a hold of Tyler or myself or anybody over here at Zenatta, please head over to zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting. We'll be happy to chat with you.
On the website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every single Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And as always, we would appreciate if you would like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
Happy June, everybody. Happy